there's a theory called the Cloward-Piven Theory, and I would encourage everyone to Google it and read about it. It's a very, very small read. I'll try to encapsulate it a little bit. Cloward and Piven are were husband and wife professors that taught in the 60s at Columbia University. It's interesting that Jared Bernstein, the lead economic advisor, went to Columbia University then, and he had a degree in music. He also has a master's degree in social work, by the way. This is our lead economic advisor, as did President Biden, as did Madeleine Albright, Bill Barr, Eric Holder, and the list goes on and on. All of these politicians right now here or previous, Madeleine Albright, I think the former secretary of the UN, I mean, the very prominent positions were all indoctrinated with the Cloward-Piven theory, which in a few words or less, number one, you overwhelm the welfare system and the entitlement system. You overwhelm the inner cities. You overwhelm them with a whole slew of people that need welfare payments, and then you create a serfdom of people who will never vote Republican ever again. You overwhelm the system, which leads to universal basic income, and move away from the welfare system. You give universal basic income, you move to a socialist agenda. You elicit, to your point, why don't we see it, the left-leaning media, who is sympathetic to the plight of the underprivileged and the welfare system putting them at a disadvantage. And think about the left-leaning media doesn't tell us anything that's true, and all they act is divisive and creating a further wedge between what used to be united America. United States is no longer united. We are divided tremendously. And the cancel culture aspect of it, if you don't agree, well, kiss my butt, move away. That's how there are no more polite, open discussions where you learn about someone else's opinion and you grow as a result of it. You may not agree, but you learn. And now we don't even cross that bridge. So read the Cloward-Piven theory and you'll say, my God, maybe that's why 17 million people have come in and overwhelmed the inner cities, where 65% of all the taxpayer-sponsored subsidies or taxpayer-funded subsidies are going to people here illegally. Only 30% are for people, American citizens, who are in need of some form of taxpayer assistance, but welfare. But you are overwhelming a system, and that so much so where the Congressional Budget Office, which is one of the last nonpartisan groups in Washington, says by 2031, 100% of tax revenue will go just to pay the interest on the debt and mandatory entitlement. That doesn't take into account all these people that have come into this country illegally. Millions and millions and millions and millions of them, anywhere between 12 and 17 million, depending upon who you listen to. And who's going to pay for their schooling, their food, their education, and their hospitalization? Who? How? Where? Where does it come from? We're broke. We're insolvent. We're 200 million in debt. I mean, and so could the Cloward-Piven theory that Obama learned and that Jared Bernstein learned, could it really be happening, or is it too stupid to be stupid? I don't know. You tell me. But are the inner cities being overwhelmed? Yeah. Is the entitlement system being overwhelmed? Yeah. Is the left-leaning media helping to create divisiveness and not tell us both sides of the story? Yeah. And I mean, would these people, these 17 million plus people, would they ever vote for Trump when he's talking about deporting them and not giving them free handouts? Yeah. And so ask yourself, is this real? Don't know. You tell me. So again, fine line between conspiracy and reality, but if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and, well, it tastes like a duck, I think it's a duck. But that's just my own personal opinion. And look, man, this country has given me so many wonderful things, and I'm the least likely person to have ever succeeded in the level that I have. My parents were hippies, and we weren't privileged. When my dad and I started this company, a guy that had a degree in history and philosophy, we started this company in 1989 with a loan from a friend, Miles Franklin. My dad's middle name is Miles. He lent us 60 grand. We started in an office the size of a closet. And we're at 10 billion in sales in 34 years. I thank God every day for this country and the opportunities it's given me. And this is why I get itchy and angry when I see what's happening to this wonderful country. We are destroying what it is to be American. We are destroying what it is to to have a privilege of a free society with a judicial system that assumes innocence before guilt, and does it fairly, not two-tiered, where my wife and her family immigrated from Russia when she was 2 years old, legally. People across the street, legally. An immigration system that welcomes people the right way, where you assimilate and you contribute, not where you just walk in across the border. And when you see, how many thousands or millions of middle or young guys your age, military age fighting men coming here, with Toomey bags and they didn't walk. Who flew them there? All this stuff. I mean, it's scary and it's disappointing. And this is the big, and this shit ain't lost on the rest of the world, man. Especially the people who would consider us their foes. It's not lost on them. They see what's happening in this country, and they see it's being destabilized. It's no longer united. It's divided. And that's the first step in the Communist Manifesto: divide and conquer. I wish I weren't such a buzzkill, but I got 3 kids. My youngest is 17, and I'm afraid for the world she's growing up in all honesty. And I'm an optimist at heart. But when you look around and see this stuff, I mean, isn't it too stupid to not be planned? I don't know. You tell me, brother. I don't know. I wish I didn't feel that way. Pay yourself first every single time you get paid. In fact, that's the best gift I have ever been given. Buy something, gold or silver, every 2 weeks when you get paid, or I'll fire you. Okay, cool. I can do that if that's the only one rule. I've owned this company outright for 2 decades. He's still alive. I talk to him 10 times a day, it seems. He ain't gonna fire me anymore, but I've honored my promise to him, and I have bought something every 2 weeks for 34, going on 35 years. I have never missed a 2-week period. It is the finest, most wonderful, greatest gift my father has ever given me, ever. The best gift I've ever received. Learning how to get out of the rat race. Pay yourself first. Allow the laws of compounding to work for you rather than against you. Do not become a debt slave. Do not follow the Joneses and go into debt the way everyone else does, where 65% of America earning over $100,000 is paycheck to paycheck. Let the laws of compounding be your friend. Pay yourself first, whether it be a $10 bill in a jar, which probably isn't the best way with inflation, but it's better than nothing, or an ounce of silver, or whatever your means are to pay yourself first. That is number one, the most. I don't care if it's a Satoshi, a tiny little bit of Bitcoin, whatever it is that you save in. Every 2 weeks, you must be regimented. You must be disciplined. You must realize the laws of compounding are extraordinary. It's not just compounding of interest, it's compounding of time. And that's the most important thing I could ever tell people is to pay yourself first and become regimented and never accept an excuse. Never. You always pay yourself first. And even if it means buying 1 ounce of silver or $10 in a jar, I don't care. Every 2 weeks or every time you get paid or every time you can, you pay your future self first. And I look at what I've accumulated over 34 years, I can't believe it. And it's all through. It was painless because I didn't buy a lot every single time, but I became regimented, and now it's part of my daily and semi-weekly life. That to me is the best advice I can give anyone young. It is to understand that you're young now. I still feel like I'm 20 years old in my head. I'd go hang with those guys and party and yeah, let's do it. But you wake up in the morning, I ain't 20 anymore. And that's the truth. And you wake up one morning and say, wow, where did all that time go? And how do I got 3 kids? One of them was 24 years old. How'd that happen? And, it goes fast. So pay yourself first and become disciplined and let the laws of compounding be your friend instead of everyone else being a debt subservient slave in one form or another, because we all feel it's our birthright to go into debt. Ain't the way to do it. And especially in an environment like this where you could argue the economy is slowing down, and the ability to maintain and service that debt becomes harder and harder and harder. So that is the best gift my father's ever given me. And everyone who works for me, everyone, I tell them the same thing. This is a condition of employment. And every single person, and they've all been my best friends. I mean, they've all been dear friends. Everyone, before they work for me. I've known them since childhood, just about everyone who works for me, literally. They were my friends. A lot of them had very distinguished careers in Wall Street and degrees from Wharton or Temple University, master's degree in business administration, all sorts of distinguished careers. But we had relationships before they came to work for me. These are people who were savvy and wealthy. And I said the same thing: you buy every 2 weeks or don't take this job. And every one of them has said to me, thank you, dude. Like, my goodness, it's unbelievable how fast you build something up when you're regimented and methodical. Best advice I could ever give anyone.